Hi, this is National Chess Master R. Rats. I'm here giving another simul. I think I have 7 games going. I've been able to take on f6 for several moves and double his pawns, but I've opted not to do that. I'm just following the system here. I'll play my move and then I'll uh, go over. Basically, the first 10 moves of White's are pretty much set. Uh, let's find a game. Oh, did I drop a piece? Well, mercy. What did I do? Yeah, I dropped a piece. I wasn't watching. Okay, so Um, heck. How about if I just ignore that critter? Okay, anyway, let me just show the first moves. I've gone over these before. White wants to get castled on the fourth move and then play d3, bishop to g5. And the idea is to take on f6, but not until black spends a tempo with h6. Uh, I can take any time, but here it comes. And in this case, the first 11 moves are set. And now it's my move in this position. Okay, so here objective now is to play bishop. Or wait, let's see. I want to get an. I want to do stuff with my knights here. I can play knight c5 or c4 with the idea of knight e3, but bishop c5 gets on the diagonal. Uh, I can play b4, but then he might play b5. So let's see, knight c4 over the bishop c5. Then I can play b4 and kick that bishop off the diagonal. Okay, I think I can do that, but I want to get the knight to e3. Um, okay, let's see now. d3. Oh, not following the plan here. I'm dropping pawns. Okay, that's okay. I don't mind. I get a half-open file for it. Okay, so now h5. Now let's see. I've got to pressure him some way, shape, or form here. Um, let's see. Let's undermine the knight on c6. Okay, so I dropped a piece in one game. That's humorous. Okay, now I get to fight. Let's see. Black has finally played his bishop to g7. Now we'll just go through the routine, kind of follow clear E1, F1 for a bishop or a knight. Now let's see. I think the theme here is to play b5 and kick that knight out of there. Okay, so now he's castled. Now, what do I want to put on f1? It's a good question. What do I want to put on f1? I don't know. I don't really know. Uh, put the knight on f1 makes the most sense. So the bishop can go there later. Get the knights moving first. Okay, now I'm allowed. Now I don't want to take his bishop. It's kind of a bad bishop behind the pawn on e5. So I'm going to try to negotiate a knight into f5 here. Okay, so now I've given up a pawn and changed my system ever so slightly. Let's not worry about it. Let's just play c4, continue with my development. It changes the system slightly. I'm trying to get all these games started. I didn't start the recording right away. I don't care if I drop a pawn here and there, a piece. It makes me fight. Okay, so he's playing the knight to a5. Now, I put the queen on a4, and if he plays b6, I play knight b3. Okay. So I believe I have 7 games going. I have a couple of people. One person refused my challenge who's actually playing someone else, and I think that was. I'll send her a challenge. Let her play a game. Get an 8th game going. I'm still willing to start games if these people will make moves. I mean, if I answer my thing, I sent a challenge to who was it? Dortan888. It was refused. I think he's playing another game, and I sent one to Ronan Returns, and I even sent a chat request. He's ignoring it. So, if you don't get to play me this time, you get to play me. I did try. Okay, so now I'll put the knight on e3, and we keep maneuvering. Okay, so now let's see. Bishop g4, and that allows me to plunk a knight on f5. Do I want to do that? No. I want to play the knight to h4 first. Now let's see. Do I want to do it that way? Knight h4, he might play g6, but then his bishop on h5 gets a little trapped, and for me to win it, I have to weaken my pawns. I like the idea of the knight staying on e3 and having some flexibility, so this also protects the pawn on e4, so I'll play this way. Now he played b3, so now I play knight b3, and I'm ready to get my attack started against him. Now here I part with the bishop. Okay, now it's my move here. Alright, he played back, so I just ignore it. Now he's on b2, so I don't want to hang the pawn like I did in the other case. I've almost done this before in other games, but that's okay. These things happen. So what I'm trying to do here is keep caught up. I believe I have 8 games going. Got to make sure some of these late games don't okay. Anyway, I've got challenges out that haven't been accepted. At least one. You guys can accept them or not. I can't help it. I can't make you accept a challenge. You stay on the list though for next time, but I did try. Okay, so let's see. Got to have some compensation for the pawn. c6 shuts off my diagonal. I want to try to induce a weakness in his position. There are none at the moment, but perhaps I can create one. I think here's where I got to just kind of change things slightly up and play for a center here. Okay, now I'd get rid of the bishop, jettison that. Okay, now okay, if I play a6, he can play b5. Let's see. I can play f3, puts the bishop on h3. I can play f4 first. Not sure what that does. Threatens to go to f5, maybe. I've dropped a piece here. Doesn't help much when you're fighting a piece down. Let me think about this one for a while. I don't care if he trades off my bishop on g2. That's not a problem. It's not a problem because it's not a very active piece of mine. However, at the same time, if I keep it, it's an extra piece. I mean, maybe I can open up that diagonal from h1 to a8. Now, one method of trying to save that bishop is to move the rook over to e1. Then when bishop h3 comes, I put the bishop on h1, and that preserves the diagonal. But preserves the bishop. But the bishop's just butting into nothingness here. I'm just happy to let him trade it off. So don't mind that so much. Anyway, I can just let him play bishop h3. Letting him play bishop h3, he trades it off. It's one less piece of mine. But I'm going to have to generate some play somewhere. In order to do that, I need some open lines. I'm just going to throw caution to the wind here in a moment and play F4, I think, but I'm not entirely certain if I want to do that just yet. I mean, I could play F3, then he'll play bishop H3, and I don't mind if he trades off my bishop. F3, bishop H3, rook F2, bishop takes, king takes. I'm getting closer to doubling. Could also take on H. If you plays bishop H3, take on H3. That brings his queen down to H3, and now I can put the knight on D6 for what it's worth, but I don't know if it goes anywhere. I don't know. Let's see. Think about this one for a while. May come back to it. How much time do I have? I have 79 minutes. I have plenty of time here. I'm hearing a lot of ticks. My move is coming in a lot of games, and I got to make sure I don't get it in any time pressure. I also don't know if anyone's playing speed chess against me yet, where that tends to make my clock run faster. The danger of playing fast chess against me is you're more likely to make a mistake than I am, and you know, you're not likely to find your best move and let me back in the game. So here I got to try to save a game a piece down. It makes it interesting, to say the least. So what do? I basically avoid exchanges, lure him into a false sense of security, and with any luck, I pull it out. I've done it before. I've pulled out lost games in these simuls before, and you know, can't expect a miracle every time out, but you never know. Let's see. So F3 or F4, or neither. Well, for me to get anywhere, I'm going to have to open up some lines. That's obvious. But I'm not exactly sure which one I want to do yet. I can afford to take a little time here, and at the moment, that's a luxury I do have. I have plenty of time on my clock. So let's see. I can pressure his pawn on B2, or B7 rather. Not sure if that gets me anywhere. So the problem with putting the rook on E1 and dropping the bishop back to H1 is I'm off the F file. But what if I just do that? Let's see what he's going to do. It's kind of a funny position where I just do it, just play that anyway. Okay, now what's he trying to do here? Take on E4, don't mind that. Do I want to take on D5? Do I want to centralize a rook? I'm going to bring a rook to D1. Okay, he's played rook E8. Now, there's a loose pawn on A4. I can get on the A file, which he's deserted if I play A4. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've done something similar in other games. Okay, he played G6. Now his bishop's a little awkward, but I'm not worried about that bishop right at the moment. I'm just going to develop my pieces. No, I can't put the rook on D1. What if I play F3 here? The bishop C5 becomes a problem. I'm going to play B4. Try to prepare F3. Okay. Knight C6. Okay, I'm still in my book here. Knight BD2. Okay, he's taking his time. Okay, he played a6. We played that kind of quick. Okay, now I've got the a file for what it's worth. Okay, let's see. Make people make comments. I don't have time to talk. Okay, I'm just going to take over a little space advantage and try to be a pawn up. I mean, play a pawn down with space advantage. Okay, let's see. What's happening here? Okay, I've got the A file, but do I really want the A file? I might have some. What if I put my rook on A2 here? The idea is to bluff him into swinging his rooks over, and I'll double up and keep control of the file. Okay, knight C3, C6. So he's not threatening E4, so here I castle. Okay, now he played that anyway. Now, like I say, I didn't like having to take my rook off that file, but you know, to some degree, I have to keep the piece on the board. Yeah, that got him to swing over, and I don't mind trading off the rooks here. I got some ideas here. Okay, so let's kind of look at the times. I'm going pretty quick. Okay, he took that pawn. He wants to take. Well, you know, if I take queen takes e4, I'm threatening a check down here, followed by rook check on d8. I think this comes out fine for me. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just take it. Okay, so he took. Now he'll probably swing his rook over to a8, but I don't mind this. Okay. Now let's see. I think I have a Coke here somewhere. There it is. Two of them. One's a little flat, but it's all right. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Threatening queen. Oh, he's moved here. A5. Okay, here's where I play A3. Just keep control of, or keep the pawn on B4. Okay. Bishop D6. Okay, let's see. Queen C2. Okay. Everything's here's following according to plan. Well, don't know what happened to the guys that I sent challenges to, but what can I say? You don't accept, you don't get to play. Okay, let's see. The other day when I was giving the sum, although games I started late, it wouldn't refresh them. I kind of forgot about those games. And ended up losing one on time and almost losing another, but looks like the times are doing okay here. I'm not running low on any time. Not really looking at their times too much. I got the feeling no one's playing blitz chess against me, which is good. You know, you've got this long game with a strong player. You want to play a long game, and so at some point he's got to try to open up the board somewhere. D4. Now that's interesting. That doesn't. Well, it's interesting to say the least. It opens up. What's it do? It opens up the diagonal for my bishop on G2. So I'll just go through with the system and play D3. I think it's a tempo that he can't really afford to take. Okay, now he's blocking. He's blocking the check on A8. E5 hangs. You know, trade queens, be a pawn up. Plus the threat of knight C6. And knight takes G3 if he trades. I mean, I'd love to play A4, but it hangs my knight on B3, so I'll just take the pawn here and see what happens. I'm on his rook, I'm on his queen. getting ready to fork on f7 if he takes. So I think I have 8 games going, which is good. I want to whittle this list down. I mean, I'll keep adding people to the list as long as I want to play. Not everyone's going to be online when it's ready to go. But let's kind of talk some theory here. What am I trying to do here? Well, let's see. I guess it's my move here. So he's played his rook to d8. Now, what can I try to do here? I can play queen b3 and attack a pawn. Could play the knight back to d2 with the idea of going to f3 with the idea of going to g5. That's a long plan. How can I kick that bishop out of h3? Well, what I want to do is open up the diagonal for that bishop that I decided to save. I kind of went against the grain a little bit with keeping it. But at the same time, I've got to keep some pieces on the board if I want to have any kind of hope here. How can I open up that diagonal? Let's see. A6, he invites b5, which opens up the diagonal. Then I can put the knight on a5 or a3. A5, I'll trade a piece. Is he trying to pressure me on d3 by putting the rook there? That's a good question. Well, he's not on it yet. He's not attacking it yet. Let's see. Knight d2 might expose my d pawn to danger. I can't protect it on the d file. Knight a3 is an interesting move. Trying to go where? The knight's good on c4. I've got these good squares for these pieces. He's going to have to crack the game open somewhere. Let's see. What about f4 here now? I mean, I can't take back with the rook, but I can take back with the pawn. Then he gets a queen check on g4. And my king has to go up to f2, and I lose my pawn on f4. That's no good. Or I have to go through a wholesale exchange, which loses the ending. So, maybe I just got to lure him into doing something, wasting time here. Queen e2 tries to get him to play bishop g4, and I play f3 and send his bishop back to g2. I mean, I have to play something. So I'll try that. Okay, b5. d5 is not covered. But where do I put my knight on f3? Nowhere. E takes, d takes. Or e takes, d5, e takes, d5. I'm just going to play knight f1 and go go with the maneuvering aspects that this position has. Okay, he did do that. Now I take, he takes, I put the queen on b3. I'm attacking c5, or b5 rather. Okay, he put his queen on g8. Okay. Now, how can I make progress here? I don't control d1, but with two rooks, I'm thinking at rook d1, and if his bishop moves, I take, he can take back the queen, and I can't put the queen on, or a rook on d1. I'm up a clear pawn. He hasn't shown me any kind of an attack. As much as, well, I can play a4 here, because if he plays queen takes b3, I play queen takes h8. I just have to make sure my knight doesn't get loose. So let's see, a4 I can play. He's probably going to play bishop d6 next. That will protect his rook. Yeah, so a4 bishop d6. My queen can't go and guard my knight, and then it falls, so I can't play a4. However, I was talking about having c6 under control. Let's go ahead and plan to put a knight there. Okay, go from there. Now queen b3. Okay, now let's see. He castled, and I'm still in the book here, so e4. Okay, so what it's worth, I've got a little space advantage. Let's try to milk it. It's kind of hard when you drop a piece and a pawn in a game right in the opening. Okay. I'm looking at playing f3, and what if I play h3 instead? h3 makes him think if I want to push g4 or not. Let's do that. h3. Okay, e5. Yeah. Knight bd2. Okay, now I get the en passant capture. I'm down a piece, but I get the en passant capture. Okay. Take what I can get, little by little. Maybe I got something here. Do I want a pawn back? No. And get that knight into d5 in a hurry. See, the question is, which do I go first? Rook takes a8 or knight takes b6? Knight takes b6, rook takes a1, queen takes or rook takes a1, queen b3. Queen b3 do anything? b2 is protected. How do I want to do this? Yeah. I like my rook on e1. But let's see. Knight takes b6. If I can get control of the file, rook takes, and queen b3. Just an aggressive move. Where's my knight go? Oh yeah, d5, that's right. Knight d5. And he's going to have some pressure on the b file, but he might have that anyway. Let's see. If I take the rook first, rook takes, knight b6. He still plays queen b3, knight d5, rook b8, and I'm still running into problems there. But I get a pawn back for what it's worth. And I could always bring the knight back to c4 and not go to d5. So let's give him a chance to put me on the A file. As expected, he played queen there, or bishop d6. Okay, now I want to get a knight to c6. I could also trade queens. Queen check, queen takes, knight takes. But I don't really want to trade queens. But now his knight's getting ready to go to c5, so I'll just trade him down. Check. Okay, now d4. That gives me the c4 square for my knight. There's a tempo on his bishop. Okay, that'll hang my knight on f3. That's the same thing I did before. Okay, so just play rook e1. Okay, c5. Now this gives me breaks of a4, a5. e5. Let's see. Gives him a nice diagonal for his bishop. Shuts off my bishop. But then some of his minor pieces are kind of suffering. Okay. Now I'm on your rook. Okay, now I actually have the luxury of playing c4 here. Okay. He took. Now I got the a file. And if he puts his queen on b3, I can just bring my knight back to c4. Right? I don't have to go to d5. Okay, so now he's pushing to d4. I can take. He takes with the knight. I take with the knight. He takes with the bishop. I think on pawn takes I can also play knight b4. No, I'm just going to play my... No, I can't play my knight to e3 here. It's a thematic move. A lot of times you can just play thematic moves here. What are thematic moves? Well, maneuvering the knights around. A4 is a thematic move. I'm trying to get control of c4, although I'm not sure exactly how I use it. Let's see. So my last move was knight f1. Pawn takes d4. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes c7, rook takes c7, rook c1. I'm on the wrong file. Of course, I can do another thing here too. It weakens my king side slightly, but I've done this maneuver before. I play h4. The idea is to clear h2 for a knight. So I'll try that, just experimenting. Okay, now he put his queen there, so he's got a battery on the long diagonal. How can I take advantage of that? The rooks are off the board, which is fine. I can attack c4, b5 by way of knight a2 and knight a3. Yeah, let's try that. I could play knight a5, queen a2, attacks his knight. All these maneuvers. Okay, now I put the knight on d4. Okay. Now let's see. What's he played? Knight e8. So he's trying to say if you attack my... If you play g4, I'm gonna take your knight on h4. Okay, good resource. Let's see. It's one of those positions where I just love to be able to play knight f5. Pawn takes, knight takes on his queen. What's the next threat? No threat. Can't go queen d2 because to attack h6 because that's taken. Uh, which rook to d1? Seems like the logical move here. I think the a rook, even though the a file may open up, I don't really. I think this rook. Oh, I can't put the rook on d1. God, I missed these one movers. There it is, bishop d1. Ouch. Okay. Let's see. Can't get away with f4. That's going to hang h4. Um, put my queen on a2. That creates a menacing pin. Okay, he's put his knight back on e8 to stop g4 because he'll take on h4. So, what I need to do here is something like just let his pieces stew because he can't play g5. He can't play g5 because it's going to give me the f5 square. This is just the kind of position where I just sit on it. Okay. Okay, now I've got him to play b4, which is fine. Now I get the c4 square again. So I bring the knight back to e3. Okay, let's see. Rook b8. What was my... Oh, yeah, now I'm going to play knight f1 to h2. There it is. Okay, what did he play? e6, e5. That gives me the f5 square. I still can't play knight c. I want to play knight... how about if I play knight h4 here? Knight h4, g5, knight f5, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Opens up the diagonal for my bishop. Let's try it. Okay, knight c5. Now, where's he going that I should worry about? a4. Always go back and stick my knight on c6, but that gives him the 7th rank. So what I'll do here is stick a rook on e1. Okay, knight d7. What do I want to do here? I've got to get my knight's positions improved. Knight b3 with the idea of a4, a5. Okay. So he played there. Now he played e5, stopping knight g4. Clever, clever, clever. Okay, but in doing so, you've given me the f5 square. How can I get there? Well, I can't. Well, heck. I play h5. That pawn might become weak down there, but it might be a strength too. Clears h4 for a knight to go to. Then get my knight into f5. And yeah, let's try it. If the double pawns open up, he gets rid of his dark square bishop, and I have attacking chances on the g file. Okay, so now he's coming back there. Now I attack the knight. I got to make sure pawn takes, queen checks. I'm covered on the back row. Queen a5. Okay. So knight e4. Kind of expected that. C4. Okay. Took en passant. He did play the queen to b3, so now I put the knight on. Oh, wait a minute. He's on c3 here. I have to put it on d5. Dang it. I want to play knight c4, but I'll put it on d5. That was my plan anyway. Okay, so it's a good square for the knight for what it's worth. And got him thinking. Okay. Not really in time pressure in any game. Okay. My knights are protecting each other. So he's trying to get some indirect pressure on f2. How about if I just play a4 and a5 and try to blast that a file open? Well, no, a4. It can when I go a5, he plays bishop b4 and forks me. The rook on e1 versus the pawn on a5. So if I double rooks on the e file, rook e3 is a safe square. Okay, pressure his knight. Okay, let's try that. Okay, now rook e1. Now I go ahead with the maneuver knight h4. Okay, trying something different here. Okay. Now he didn't play. What was I trying to do here? Stick a knight on f5 and sack a pawn. What if I kick that bishop out? How do I want to do it? h3 or f3? Or do I want to give up a pawn with knight f5? Clears the e4 square for my knight. Opens up the diagonal for my bishop. Knight f5. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Queen takes, knight e4. Attacks his bishop. Goes back bishop to e7. Not quite sure if I have a whole heck of a lot there. Is this position I can play knight f3, knight df3 in? Knight df3, then idea knight take. Yeah. Can also pressure him on with queen b3. Attacks a pawn. Play knight c4 now. Was something I was trying to do. Knight c4. He's going to get b5 in, but I can play a4. Let's try it. Gains a tempo. Okay. Doesn't hang a piece in this case. Okay, so now he's pinning the knight on d4. Okay, if I play rook ae1, he plays rook takes knight, I can just take back with my knight. He gets the exchange back, and we just liquidated. So let's go pin him here. Like that works. Okay, so he took there. Now, if I take his knight, ooh, he might run into trouble here. Let's see. Queen takes a5, pawn takes, queen checks, bishop f8, bishop h6, threatens mate. He has to play knight d7. How close am I to winning that? Queen takes a5, pawn takes. He's going to get a queen. Queen check, bishop f8. Well, hmm. Don't know about this one. Let's see. Queen takes a5, pawn takes, queen checks, bishop f8 is forced. I play bishop h6, threatening mate. He plays only has knight d7. And can I get rid of that knight? I can't get rid of it. And I've got f1 covered, so I can get away with this. Okay. He took. Okay. Well, I was trying to get you to take. All right. I was trying to open up the G file for something different. Okay, so let's see. You put the knight there on G7. Okay. Are you trying F5? Of course, I can stop that in its tracks. Let's see. Like with Queen B3, we'll pin it. How about if I redeploy this bishop? Bishop to F1. I've cleared E1. Bishop to F1. The bishop's going to try for a new diagonal. And clears G2. I can retreat my knight and then maybe menace his bishop. Maybe. Let's try that. Bishop F1. Okay, so he went back to C6. He didn't trust what he saw. Now the question is he threatening Queen B1 check? Well, one way to stop Queen B1 check is Knight D2, and then get ready to take over C4. So let's try that. He did take. Okay, well, don't know how you gain out of that, except liquidation, so let's see. I can play rook takes e4. And after rook takes e4, I play rook takes e4, and I'm on your rook on f3. Let's see, rook takes e4. Rook takes. He's got to stick his rook back. Now, I can always play knight takes. I was looking at that. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes, and I've got a pin on the knight. But his knight might do things. I just get rid of that knight. Rook takes e4. Yeah, that'd work. Okay, so he's on that pawn. Now, do I care about that pawn? The answer is no, I don't care about that pawn. But I do. So let's just protect it. Okay, so now he played knight c6 or knight e6. Now I've got f4 and f4 and d4 covered. Knight hg2. You can bring the bishop back to f3. Play bishop c4. He plays b5. I drop the bishop back to a2. Is he trying to play knight g5 here? play a move like king h2, puts my king on the same diagonal as this dark squared bishop. Hmm. Knight g2, knight hg2, bishop f3. Knight h4, bishop h5. Hey, I can get a draw. Let's see. Let's put the knight on e on g2. And then when he plays f5, I play pawn takes. If he takes the pawn, yeah, I think I put this knight on g2, protecting my knight on h4. Now the threat is g4. Okay, so that's what I do there. Okay, we're going to go into a minor piece ending. I don't mind this. Okay. Now the objective here is to use the G file. So he's going to win a pawn. That's all right. Let's see. Which question is, which pawn is he going to try to win here? Or win both of them? Let's see. See, his threat is bishop takes, queen takes. Or his threat is bishop takes h5 first, followed by bishop takes f3 and takes. So let's see. King h2, bishop takes h5, rook h1, bishop takes f3, queen takes bishop takes f3, queen takes h4 check, king g1. I got open files and a active bishop. Dang. Interesting idea. Kind of ruined it. This game's going downhill. Let's see. I'll come back on this one. I have 76 minutes. My time is ticking here. G5. Okay, he's created a weakness. That's what I wanted. I wanted a weakness somewhere. What's that tick tick, I wonder? Okay. The weakness is on f5. Can't use it right now. He's trying to get a piece on e5 and restrain f4. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. I'll just go through with the thematic a4 and await developments. Okay, so he took the queen. Now, his knight can go to b5 if I'm not careful, and that would pressure c3. That's my one weakness here. But if I counterattack d5 first, or d6 rather, either has to use a piece to defend it, or okay, so I'm looking at bishop f4. The idea with that is to encourage him to play e5. e5 will shut in his diagonal of his bishop. Yeah, let's try that. And it'll open up the h3 c8 diagonal for me. Okay. Wow, let's see my move here. Okay, trying to remember this game. Let's see. I was looking at ways to sacrifice a pawn for activity. Knight f5, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, opens up the diagonal for my bishop. Gives me the e4 square with tempo. Knight f5, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop e4. I've got a good bishop. You know, just getting a good bishop versus a bad bishop is worth a pawn. And I like to experiment a little bit. Okay. It's my move there. What's happening over here? Okay, overprotecting b7 before I'm attacking it. Okay. The c5 square, I like that. Let's get ready to take that over. Knight b3. I'm going to play king f1, get my king to the center and attack him when I can. Okay, so he took there. Now I get the a file. And I keep control of d4. Okay, so he took there. Now I need to take this off. Let's see. Well, I could take the other rook. Let's see. Knight takes f3. That deactivates my rook. No, I'm going to take this one. Okay. Now let's see. Oh, he played there. Now he's pressuring b5. I mean c3. Need to take a walk here in a few minutes. This simul is over an hour old. It started just over an hour ago. The video is now 56 minutes. At some point I need to stretch my legs and think about what I'm doing. This position is probably a draw, in theory. We have 6 pawns against 6 pawns. I have one weakness, that's on c3. I can cover that weakness ahead of time. Let's see. Now he's also maybe trying to pressure the bishop on e5 or f4. So knight ec4 attacks d3, d6 again, and either makes him put another defender on it. He might do knight b3. Okay, so I went over there. Now we try to checkmate him. You can have the pawn down there. I'm going to go for your kingside pawns. Let's see. Knight c6. Okay, so he did play there. Oh wow, I'm dropping my time here. Okay, so I'm down a piece. Big deal. Got to cover that pawn. It's bad. It's not refreshing that game for me. Okay, let's see. So he went there. He's attacking the pawn on h3. So my king can... What's going on here? Friend request. Okay, let's see. King h2. He doesn't have knight f3 check. So king h2. She took. Now, so much for the b file. I'll just take back with the pawn. Correct my pawns. Okay, he took. Now let's see. All right, this should be a theoretical win. He's got his pawn back. Rook check, king d6, d7 forced, rook d8 check, king e6. What if I play rook e6 here? Let's do it this way. Attack his pawn. Wait. What am I doing here? Let's put this rook on a8. There's a problem on f2 I'm not paying attention to. Okay, so I'll just cover that. Okay. Now he took... Oh, wait a minute. Something's wrong here. Can he sack his queen? This game's going downhill fast. I got that powerful knight. I got back rank problems. See, knight takes c3. Take my knight. Yeah, got to break the back rank. Dang it. This game's almost over. Well, he played rook e6. He didn't quite play what I thought he would play. Okay, so... Knight h2, bishop takes h5, king e2, rook f6, pinning, I can play rook g1. Yeah, I hate walking into a pin. Okay, how about just play rook d2 here. No, rook d2 is lousy. I'm still going to walk into a pin there. King e2, rook f6, rook g1, bishop takes h5. Yeah, you got to do it. Got to break the pin just on general principles. Okay, so he played there, but he's not really threatening anything except to take off on h or g2. So let's see. This is a type of position I can play something like rook e3 on, or even rook b7. Let's see. Black's. This is a very interesting position. Not exactly sure. You know, we're just jockeying for position with with the minor pieces there on the king side. It's almost humorous in a way as to what is going on here. I'm trying to get f5. He's trying to stop me from getting into f5. I'm playing games with his bishop, trying to trap it, but it's not necessarily getting trapped. I can take his bishop and I step into a fork. I can play rook e3 and attack his bishop. I can play rook a7 and attack his pawn. I have all kinds of interesting moves here. He's not really threatening anything. Well, he's threatening e4. No, he's not threatening e4. I have two minor pieces on it. I mean, he has two minor pieces on it. I have a rook on it and a queen. So let's see. Trying to come up with a plan here that works. He's not letting me get my knight into f5, that's for certain. Okay. So, can I do anything with a knight takes g6 trick? If the c pawn wasn't there, there could be a... No, there's no fork. The knight's on g5 is guarding the bishop on f3. Okay, so let's see. Rook e3 makes sense. It just attacks him, and if he takes it, he takes it. If he takes my knight on g2, fine. His bishop can always go to b6 at some point, but we'll just have to live with it. He took that pawn. He's on my knight. Okay, so I go pressure the... tickle the bishop out of there. Okay. Now he took that. That's done. Okay. Now good. Okay, I got a weakness. I've got an outpost, b5. Time to redeploy this knight on b3. Knight to c1. Because d2, it's not really going anywhere. Actually, though, d2 to f1 to e3 to f5. So I don't really need the knight on b5. I'll head for f5 because he weakened it. Okay, we'll try that. Alright, now maybe I can win a pawn with b4 and then b5. Win the pawn on a7. Okay. What if I just take en passant here? Or what if I check? Rook check. No, I can't check on f8. That drops the rook. What if I... Yeah, I'll take en passant here. Okay, b5 is coming. Okay, knight back to d2. Okay. Now he played knight e5. He's pressuring c4. So I stop and take it. Okay. Now he took on g2. Which way to take back? The bishop or the knight? Well, probably with the knight. He's not going to let me have f5. So, come back and take with the knight. Okay. Queen h4. Now, my king runs. Oh, I lost one pawn out of the deal. Okay. Now, let's see. Now the idea is to get a knight to... Well, let's see. I don't have to. I could play queen h5 here. Pressure his pawn. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So what did he play here? He played knight e7. He doesn't want me to do anything on f5. He doesn't want to take my critter. Well, time to switch plans here. Okay, knight takes. Okay, he took with the rook now. Let's go attack his g-pawn. He'll play g5. I'll play rook f6. Okay, let's see. He took with the queen. Now we play a4. Try to pry open that a file. Okay, he put his queen there. Now my rook slides over to g1 and gets ready to Attack on the G file. Okay, he played his rook over there. On to A8. Now what do? Put my rooks back? Or can I do anything with my minor pieces? What's wrong with just bringing my rook back to E1? Oh, knight. There's a the fork. Duh. Okay. Uh, it's a natural move, and I'll play rook E3 back to E1, but it drops a rook. Now I don't want to. Well, he's going to get the file, so why not just give it to him? Rook takes A8. Rook takes A8. Now, what can I do that's useful here? I can chase his knight out with H4. Yeah, let's do that. And we'll pre-move this if it'll let me. No, it won't. Okay, so now I get his pawn off, and for what it's worth, I've given him a weak pawn. It takes D6. Okay. Now let's see. Now what to do here? I was going to oh yeah, I was going to kick that knight out so that I can retreat my rook. And you know, doesn't really have a future on E6. It's causing a little trouble there. Okay, now get rid of this and put the bishop there. I don't win a pawn with that maneuver. I could win the e-pawn maybe. B5, then take on E5. Okay, so now park that there. Okay, so for what it's worth, I got one weakness in the black position, the pawn on C5. I can't attack it just yet. My knight on B1 is being dominated by his bishop, but I can work that out. Okay, so bishop F4. Okay, he pushed. That gives me the C4 square for my knight. Okay, so I'll take it. Okay. Now the knight went to H7. Now he wants to go to F6 and G4. What do I want to do here? Let's see. Well, we can take preventative maintenance and play F3 here. That'll stop him from ever wanting to go there. Of course, it opens up that A7 G1 diagonal. I can't play C4 because B4 hangs. Neither knight has got a future here. Maybe I have a slightly better bishop. I'm just going to go ahead with F3 and get it out of the way. Oh, he's going to pin me. Okay, I missed that. Let's see. Rook E4. Okay. Now let's see. Bishop E6. This is the kind of position where I can actually take now on D4 and then anchor my knight in with B3. Okay, so he took. I took. He went there. Attack his bishop. Okay. I've lost my pawn back that I was ahead. I've got plenty of time. The way to win this, if it is winnable, is to advance my pawns. So my pawns have to go up the board. Let's restrain his pawns. Okay. So he's doubled his rooks. Now I've got to free my Let's see. What if I put rook on g4? Attack his queen. Queen h2. He's not threatening h5 because of the discover check. Let's just chase his queen out of there on general principles. My rook d2 move might have been a waste. Okay. So he's trying to attack the pawn on c3 or d3. So here's where I play knight d2. Now if you get tricky with e5, I have bishop e3. Let's get my knight back in play. Okay, now we anchor that guy in thusly. b3. Okay. So he brought his queen up. Now, or his king up rather. Now we try to redeploy this knight. Knight e f1. Okay, so he's attacking the pawn. So I'm going to take a walk if I don't stretch soon. I can play c5. He can push by with b5. He can also pin. h5. If pawn takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes h6, that's probably heading for a draw. You know, draws are okay. I don't care. I was a pawn up. I shouldn't have lost it back. But, c'est la vie. Earlier I had some attacking chances with the queens on the board, but I just relinquished to go into an ending. I have 3 to 2. He has 2 to 1. Objectively, what this means is that 2 to 1 moves quicker than 3 to 2. That's what it means. So, if I play h5, I can get rid of his pawns real quick. We end up with both with a 2 and 0, and it's a draw. I guess might as well just go for that. Of course, if he plays g5 and gets tricky, creates weakness on h6. So leave him to figure that out. And that game, I'm down a piece. My goodness. Well, I covered the back rank threat, so maybe now finally I can take that pawn on c3 unless he goes and shoves it. But I'm on his bishop right now. Maybe I'll be okay there. And that bishop on h1 may never get in the game. If it ever gets in the game, took me a long time. But I kept it on the board just to keep another piece on the board. That was the whole reason with it. I'm not sure how many I'm really clearly winning, if any. Now I'm losing one, and the other games are all fight it out, fight it out. There goes a click. Somebody's moving. I'll be back at the board in 30 seconds. There's one nice thing about having these wireless headphones. I can get up and walk around and not have to worry about a gap. I can keep talking. Generalizations. So what I was thinking about in this rook and pawn ending is to play h5 and invite him to weaken h6. And then get a quick liquidation of the pawns and call it a draw. I think it'll be a draw. Okay, so anyway, we'll find out. Now you put the queen there. Okay. Now, that was definitely a mistake to park the rook there. Can his knight do anything? Not yet. Okay, so I'll put the rook back and hope for the best. Okay, now which way do I want to take? Uh, the objective is to get my bishop in the game, and I can do that soon. So I'll take with the c pawn here. Keep that file closed. Now let's see. He moves king to g7. Let's see. Do I want to redeploy my bishop anywhere? Bishop c4 looks like a reasonable move. Bishop c4 plans what? Just to have the bishop on a better diagonal. And takes away a2 from his rook. And I just got to improve the position of the pieces. Then I'll worry about the moving the rook and the knight a little bit later. Neither of us can do much with our knights. Okay, so he's anchored in his pass pawn. I don't care about the pass pawn. Now, the question is, can I activate my bishop? If I can activate my bishop and open up, I want to get the bishop to d5. I don't know how I can do that, but first off, I'm going to take him off the c file. Okay, so he put the bishop there. Now, well, fine. If he's going to take it, he's going to take it. I can't stop him. That's a strong bishop he has. Let him take it. Okay. Now, he did play g5. Okay. Now, let's see. f4 will get me a pass pawn quick. Pawn takes, pawn takes. He can take my pawn on c4. Heck. It's one of these tricky games. Endings gotta... You know, I knew it was double-edged if he played g5. Let me think. He's going to make sure I just don't go and fumble this game away. You know, his kingside attack never got started. My queenside attack won a pawn, and then I bungled the pawn. So, I've got a weakness on h6, but I don't see a direct way to get at it just yet. But let's see. Maybe I hate to give up the pawn on c4. Maybe I have to. I don't know. Because I know there's some pin lines. If I put the rook on e4, he can play b5. If I play c5, he can play rook a5. So I've got to figure out which one I want the most. c5, you can play rook a5. Let's see, trying to figure this one out. c5, you'll play rook a5. And where do I go? Gotta go mess his h-pawn. Rook f5, king e7. Rook checks, king f6. Rook f8. I'm losing my pawn. Rook takes c5. I can play rook g8 and threaten to win the pawn. He starts his running. I throw my check at him. He moves his king out. I get pawn. He runs another pawn. Yeah, got to do it. C5, give it a try. Okay, so now he's getting his knight back into play. Okay, I got plenty of time in this game. I need to get my king centralized. His knight's not really threatening to go anywhere. Knight a4 and knight b2 would attack d3. Let's get the king in play and figure out where to go next. Okay. Now king f8. He's getting his king out of there. So now I'll just go pressure the pawn. Okay, rook c5. He's blockading. Okay, now what I've got to do is open up a file somewhere. Not sure how to do that, so I'll prepare it with f4. Okay, he did take. That's fine. I got rid of that bishop. Okay. Now I got a pawn here, I think. Whoops. Pick up the right pawn. Okay, knight e4. Okay, knight takes. Now he's playing b5. Now I put the bishop on b3, keeping him out of a4. Okay, now he did play that. Now, got a menace h6, so knight d4. How much time do I have left here? Not enough. Where's his knight going next? Okay, queen f2. Okay, let's see. Bishop d6. Okay, f4. Bishop f5. The idea to try to create a weakness somewhere. Alright, c4. Where's he going? He's trying to fork me. Can I get away with rook takes g7? Queen takes, rook takes, king takes. How about I just run my king? King d1. No, that hangs the bishop on f3. Okay. Let's see. Rook takes g7. Queen takes, rook takes. King takes. Queen d1 with the idea of queen g1 check. I'm just on general principles. I'm going to take it. Oh, well, wait. Wait, where's this rook at? I'm not sure. It's kind of a long, laborious process to triple, but I can do it. Maybe that's what I need to do. Let's just guard this bishop under general principles. Okay, f6. Now king e2. Oh wait, e6 is a weakness. I think I can play bishop h3, but he plays king f7. Just get the king up to e2. Okay, he puts his queen on b7. What's he trying to do? Run his pawn? Okay, if you want to run your pawn, you can run your pawn. Dare I try g4 here? The idea of g5. Of course, what about h4? gotta slow play this. Okay, rook back to b8. What's happening here? This is where I open up the H file, or the G file. F4, pawn takes, my rook's ready to check him. Okay, C5. Not much is happening here. He's pressuring B4. I can take it. Then drop my rook back to the first rank. That covers the main squares. Put on the second rank. It goes to the back rank. I don't know what I want to do here. I got 46 minutes. I'm going to think about this one a little bit. I want to... oh, wow. Okay. A lot of time going down here. Okay, C2. Rook C1. Just give this one up. Shame I just go pitch a piece right out of the opening. Well, that's what you get. Give him a thrill. Yeah, I'm just going to give this one up. Move on to the next one. Okay, next one up. There's really not much to this. Let's give it a quick run through. I just played a knight c4 and dropped a piece. I can play rook e1. I can play all kinds of moves here. I just can't play c4, and there's really nothing to it after this. Just keep pieces on the board, but I got a knight to a good square, but there just wasn't any play. So close that one out. Which one was that? This one? Yeah, let's get rid of that one. Okay, I was in time pressure anyway. Now let's see. He did play king there to e6. He's attacking my rook. So let's put the rook on the back rank, right? Be menacing. Go after h8. Or h6, I mean. The idea is to go to h8 to be after it. Okay, so he attacked my pawn. Or my bishop. Okay, so bishop e3. Maybe with the idea of knight b3 coming up. Okay, well, gosh. Rook takes g7. What's happening here? Rook takes g7. Pawn takes c3. Then he's threatening to take on d3. But I can take back with the pawn. And I cover. Yeah, I have to take it. Okay, we'll see what happens. Maybe I missed something. h5. Okay, got a weakness. It's not much of one, but it's something. In order to get anywhere, I have to open up lines. Let's see. I'm not too worried about him pushing b3. I can stop that pawn cold. Let's see. Oh, man. These simuls give everybody a nice long game against me. I'll try to give you my best shot. Okay. Queen e2. Let's just make some weaknesses over there, okay? Queen e2. Okay. Now he put his bishop there to keep my knight out of b3. However, let's see. F4 is an interesting try here. Try to give him a weakness on E5. Okay. He came out with the king. Okay. What's happening in these games? Okay, there I got a weakness. Okay. So, I'm going to win the pawn on H6 and get a pass pawn, right? He's got pass pawns too. Okay. What if I play knight F3 and try to tie that pawn down? Okay. Back to this game. Okay, check. Okay, so let's see. Now I've got... He's got a pass pawn running, but I got a pass pawn. Oh, what to do here? Should like to be able to sack on F7. How about if I put a rook on F6 or G6? Let's see, rook G6. He takes with the rook, I take with the pawn. You can take on C3, I take on C3 with my pawn. Trade queens. Let's try it. Rook G6. Okay, rook G6. Now I've got him tied down to that pawn. Now how can I... Next step, bishop C1 with the idea bishop B2. Okay. I got... Okay. Now I got this goes back to H3. Okay, now he played F6. So I play H4. She's attacking my knight. How much time do I have left here? 54 minutes. I'll just bring him back. Okay, there's that move again. Ugh. Knight E1, pawn takes, queen takes, knight D3, attacks his queen. Doesn't do me a whole lot of good there. Let's see. Play queen D2. That allows rook A3 for what it's worth. Game's very even. My bishop's a little better than his, though. But it's marginal. He's got the A file. I don't. Let's see. Neither knight is doing a whole lot. Let's see. What if... I'm trying to find a way to sacrifice a pawn, sacrifice that pawn, but I don't think it can be done. I just draw a blank so you can't think of anything to do. That's kind of like the case here. I've been not wanting to look at it for a while, looking at some other games. Sometimes I store these in the back of my head and I get a little creative idea when I'm looking at another game. I mean, I can always take on c5 and this game's looking very even. But that develops as queen, so I don't always like to do that. Of course, I can play a complicated move here too, c4. That's a very double-edged move. We both get a pass pawn. So you get these new ideas. Can attack his rook with bishop d5. That improves the position of the bishop. Now, c4 is interesting. Bishop d5. Do I want to play that? Rook a1. c5. B takes. C takes b4. C takes b4. We both get passed pawns. His bishop's starting to come to life. I'm going to mix it up. c4, see what happens. Okay, so he took b2 away from me, but it gives me a3. What if I go attack his knight first and let him figure out what I'm up to? Let him solve that. Okay. So I played rook g6. What did he do? He put his rook there. Okay. Oh wait, yeah. Can I play queen d2 here? He's not really attacking my rook. It's defended. Queen d2 it is. Queen d2. He can trade queens off. Pawn takes c3, then liquidate on d3. And I got that pin. We'll see what happens. Okay, now what he's done is he's moved his rook back. So now I try to attack his king somehow. F4 loses a pawn, plus it activates his bishop. My key is to get a g4 in at some point. So, even though this signals what I'm doing, king h2 to clear the g file. Okay, so he put his bishop back on b5. Now I can play bishop a3, and I'm threatening to win a pawn. Bishop a3. There we go. I play king f7. I think just on general principles, put the rook on the back rank so he can cover the pawns. Okay, rook h8. He went there. Now, he shut my rook off. I mean, my queen off. Okay, well, fine. I'll take on h6. Actually, there's a free rook over there free knight over there on c6, right? Okay, g4 of all things. Let's see. So do I play rook b8, restrain his pawns? Rook b8, rook b8 makes sense. Should like to win that pawn on g4. That's what I'd like to do. How can I do that? Uh, how can I do that? Let's see. With rook d8, threaten rook g4. He wants to win my h5 pawn. You have to check him. Keep c7 under protection. Aha. Okay, now I think you're going to drop the pawn on g4. And I've given you a crummy bishop. Okay. So he took, now let's see, take with the queen. What am I missing? Queen takes c4, 8. I take on f7. He gets a dangerous pass pawn. Maybe I didn't see that. I can't see everything. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think I have to give up my pawn on h6 to win the pawn on g4. But I was happy to play for a draw here. Now let's see. Queen takes f7. Oh wait, I can't take on f7. Duh. Man, oh boy, am I missing things. Okay. I thought I was winning that pawn on b4. Bungled a pawn. Funny, huh? Okay. Anyway, let's see. I was gonna play queen takes f7 and lose lose everything. You're probably wondering how this guy get a master rating. Well, I take my time, that's why. And I analyze bad moves just like everybody does. If those queenside pawns disappear, this game's petering out into a draw. Anyway, let's see. What do I do here? I gotta do something with my rook. Put it on the d file makes sense. Clears e3. Yeah. Gotta get the maybe I can get that knight into d5. If I can get the active knight first. Okay, now he's off b2, so now I've got pressure. Okay. Now he's trying to push that pawn, but that pawn ain't going nowhere. I'll blockade it. So now g4. Okay. Okay, h8. I get my pawn back. Check. Okay, now I can win the g pawn. Yeah, I'm just going to offer this guy a draw, see if he wants it. Okay. Now which way to take? With the queen, of course. Okay. Now I can win a pawn, right? Bishop takes d7. And the question is, which way do I take on e5? Okay, now, he's got a pretty bad bishop, so do I, but I want to get mine in play. So now I just put the queen on f4. Now let's see, which way do I take? Taking with the knight, threatens a discovered check and attacks his bishop. Let's go that way. Okay, somehow we offered. I declined a draw. I thought I offered one. Okay. All right, good. Game over. Draw. Let's do a quick run through on this. Seems like his attack against my king got a little sidetracked because he ended up weakening his king side first. And I opted to win a pawn, but maybe what I need to do is, since his attack is so far back, just play rook fb1, and then I can a4, a5 is strong. But anyway, off came the queens, and I saw some of this stuff coming. The rook takes f3 move, but I just didn't calculate deep enough. He ends up getting counterplay. Then I almost dropped the pawn on f2. That would have been comical. And the game's pretty even. And this just goes into a draw. I think both have the pawns. Neither one can make any progress. Draws a fine result. Let's see, which game was that? Morphos. Okay, close that one. So I finished 2 games that I know of, maybe 3. I know I was winning a piece in one game, and I think he resigned. Yeah, he did. Let's see. I'll come back and look at that. I want to make sure. Okay, so now the objective here to win is to he's got 2 weaknesses. He's down a pawn, and c5 is weak. So let's just take his bishop, and we'll play a bishop ending here. He has to fight for the draw. Okay, you're on a pawn. Fine. I'm just going to guard it and bring this rook into play later. Okay. What did he do? He brought his knight to f6. So I guess I got to play the knight to d5, right? Get him into play. Okay. Now, how to win this? If it is indeed winnable, it probably is. His bishop's a little awkward here. It's good to have an ending. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't run in. Wait, he moved here. Okay, I got to get my bishop in play, so we'll start. The only way it's going to get in play is by way of h5. So we'll start that down the path. Okay, king there. How many games do I even have? Okay, this game's still going. Her move. Oh, she moved. Okay, c6. Let's go ahead and develop a piece. Queen b3. Protect the pawn. Develop a piece. Okay. The pawn of c5 will stay a weakness. I have a pass pawn. A king to get to c4 takes 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. And he can get to b5 and stop me. King f3, king e6, king f4, bishop d2 check. Chases me out. I've got him I've got that weakness on c5 fixed. I just have to find the next way to go. I'll come back on this one. Okay, did he move? And he put his bishop there, so on b6. I think I have to play knight d5. That was the plan. Right? I think. Well, then he trades it off. What if I attack his bishop? Queen c6. Attacks his rook too. What's he do? Do I win something here? Let's see. If I get my king to b3, he gets his king to b5. Maybe then I start running the e pawn. And his king comes back to stop it. I get my king to c4. I think I could do a lot of maneuvering. I'm going to try to get his king away from my passed pawn here. Okay, knight h6. Could I double your pawns? I hate to give up the two bishops, but I'm just going to do it. Okay, what did you do? Bishop f8, you're looking for some defense, and I'm looking to create weaknesses. Okay. You're trying to get your bishop to h6. So h6, pawn takes, queen takes. Yeah. I'll be okay here. What squares do I have? Let's just take squares away from you. d4. Cut that diagonal of the bishop down. Okay. You want my pawn. You can't have it. Okay. Now I get a pawn with check. Okay. Rook d8. No, I'm not winning a pawn. I mean, I thought I had a fork here, but he takes back. His queen is covering. The bishop, but then I get my knight into d5. I'll get a pass pawn too. Or at least a very active bishop. Let's see. Just rook takes. Okay, so king there. Now king c2. I'm trying to get my king to c4. Okay. He played there. Now we pressure the G file. Okay. Queen takes. H5. Okay, now king f2. Okay, king d7. Now I don't want to shut my diagonal on my bishop off. But again, I'm preparing e5. Okay, so he's going after my pawns. Well, I'll go after yours. King b3. Okay, pressure on this. So, rook a3. Now knight d5. Okay. King went up to c7. Got to get these pawns running. Okay, c4. a5. a5. Or e6 rather. Well, Rook B1. Boy, lots of people are moving. I can hear the clicks in the captures. Okay, bishop F2. Now I play king C4. Okay. And queen B6. Okay. Now, the trick is to get my light squared bishop into play. 56 minutes here. Queen H4 threatens to stick it on F5 for what it's worth. Yeah, let's do that, because you can't play bishop E7. I can play queen F5. That doesn't go anywhere. Play queen D7. But what does queen H4 threaten? He's got G6 covered. Threatens H6, but then my bishop doesn't get active. Threatens bishop F5. The idea pawn takes, and no, I'm not taking on G6. He's got it covered. Heck, I have 55 minutes. I'm going to come back on this one. I want to think about this a little bit. Okay, let's see. His queen went to F7. Now, he's got. I don't have to give up that A pawn, but I'm just kind of like playing safety first here and covering things. I can pile up on the pawn on B3. Hmm. What if I just I don't like the position of my rooks. Let's put the king on E1. Back him up. Okay, G5. That puts your pawn on the color of your bishop. That's a weakness. Okay, so now G4. Okay, getting somewhere in that game. Okay, back to this one again. Back to this one. Let's see. Bishop back. What if I place C5 just to tie your bishop up? Okay, how many games do I have? I don't know how many I have. I think I finished 3 of them. I had a draw, a loss, and a win. I think I had 7 games going. I'm down to 4. Is that right? He didn't move yet. Somebody moved. I think she did. Knight C6. Okay. So Rook B3 threatens a check. Back to this one. Okay, did he move? Yeah, he put his king on E8. Okay. So what I'm going to do is B6 is a weakness. I'm going to work on that. Queen D2 threatens queen takes A5 of all things. Pawn takes, rook takes, check. He gets to throw his bishop in the way, and I pick that up, and then I win the rook on H8. So we'll try that, huh? Okay. B8. Now d5. Okay. What's happening with there's one game the one where I have down the pawn. Oh, okay. Now, how do I want to take? With the bishop or the knight? I mean, with the bishop or the pawn? If I take with the pawn, I get a nice advanced pass pawn. If I take with the bishop, I have a nice active bishop. And I've shut him down. Of course, I can't advance my pawn, but I can't either. I've got it blockaded. Let's see. I just take with the bishop. It's just an active piece. It just follows general principle. Okay. I have 51 minutes there. Let me go over this game here so that I can just go back. This one could have gone south. I think he had the better game. I came up with this idea to sacrifice or to mess up my pawns on the king side with the idea of attacking, and he found a couple good moves. But I think here this is a good move. I think just play bishop takes h5, and I really don't have a good move against bishop takes f3 and queen takes h4. So you got one pawn, but you let me out, and now I've got counterplay, and then unfortunately you dropped a knight. So right here, let's find it. Let's say queen d8. Black to play. Wait, why isn't it at the right position? Come on, there it is. Queen d8. Knight f3, bishop g4, king. Yeah, just simply bishop takes h5 here. And then I can't really stop bishop takes f3, followed by queen takes h4, and down 2 pawns. Anyway, thanks for the game. You'll get me eventually. You keep playing me. He gets to play because he's one of my students. Wait, what happened there? How did that get... Look at this. Urgh! I hate it when it does this. It changes things. Has it made the game here? I don't know what's going on. Let's see. I'm trying to close this game out. Okay. He's trying to counterattack g3. Okay, fine. I won't let you. I'll put my rook on e3 and overprotect e4. Wait. Whoops. See what? I'm trying to bring this back in the window where I did a rook e3. That overprotects e4, and keeping an eye on g3. Okay, now this thing's all turned blue. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of one game here from the window. This one here. Okay, now let's see. Canardi. Okay, he brought his king there. So now I think it's just a matter of tying him down to his weaknesses. Bishop a3. If king d6, I don't have d4. Let's see. Well, his king's not threatening to penetrate. Let's see. Maybe if I try to attack that pawn from the rear. Bishop g7. The idea is to put it on f8. Okay. Still my move here. I haven't figured that one out. Now I think, unfortunately, one of these games I brought into some other side window. It's no longer it's no longer going to circulate on the queue, but I guess maybe this is interesting. I could watch 2 games at once and I'm moving it back and forth. I don't know how that happened. I was trying to close one game and this happened. He's offering a queen trade. The game should be petering into a draw here pretty quickly. What do I have, 26 minutes left? Okay, I took it. Now he guarded from the rear, but I think he's going to drop his pawn on c5 now, bishop f8. Okay, still my move here. Gotta figure. Let's see, how much time do I have? 47 minutes. That's plenty of time. Okay, I think I've got some chances here, but I've got to figure it out. Uh, you know, my king is reasonably safe unless his bishop gets active, and maybe it could by way of h6, maybe. Uh, I'm not too worried again about that pass pawn on b4 because I can blockade it easily enough. Uh, he doesn't control the queening square with his bishop, even if he gets some squares open for that bishop. It's just a question of whether I can mount anything with the pieces I do have. My rook on a1 is not helping, but then all of his heavy pieces are over on the queen side. So let's see. I mean, I got to get that bishop into play, and it's threatening to get into play, but it's just not quite in play. And not too sure here. Let's see. Queen f5 is possible. I could even go for f4. That's probably bad. It's going to open up this. It's going to open up his bishop. Yeah, f4 is horrible. Of course, I can take on g6. If he takes with the rook, then I can get my queen active. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do here. Queen f5. That's just going to run into rook f6. Yuck. Okay, so pawn takes, his queen takes, and I've opened up the file. Now my queen go to f5, and his rook's pinned. I just can't find a way to make progress here. Queen h4 threatens maybe some dastardly stuff. h6. I don't know. Let's try it. Queen h4. Okay, make him defend. Okay, so he's attacking my pawn, and I'll just move it up to h3. Now look at this. My game has disappeared. Okay, come on, don't do this. All my games have disappeared. Come on back here. Let's get in the window. Okay, now I think you're going to lose the king and pawn ending. Let's see. Bishop takes d6. King takes. King b5. You have a tempo move h6. I play king c6, b6, and you lose. Look at that. It's flipping the things away. Okay, so just get the pawns on the light squares, and the game is a draw. Look at this. It won't bring games back. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, hey, another opposite color bishop. What's he threatening? I don't want opposite color bishops again. Let's go for e6. Look at this. I can't get one game up. I don't know what I hit. Okay, let's see. h6, now king b6, and this game will be over. Look, it's wiping out the game. Okay, I don't know. I can't even get this one game back with King Bishop. I may have to disconnect and come back or something. Queen D8. Okay. Do I want to trade queens? No, I can't checkmate him if I trade queens. So, queen. Put my queen on G3 and figure it out. I'm attacking a pawn for what it's worth. Look at that. I make a move, it wipes out the window. Okay, so Queen G3. I don't know what's going on there. Did I offer this guy a draw? I'll offer him a draw. Okay. I don't know if it's even offering it. I've lost one game. I can't find it. It was here in this extra window, and I can't even move it. So I'll probably lose that one on time. I know if I disconnect, it's how do I get back to all my games? Will it re-simulate me? I don't know. I was trying to close one window out, and all it did was bring something down from the queue of games up at the top and made it into a separate window. I was able to watch it for a while. I could watch two games from my point of view. It's only recording one area of the screen, but now I can't even get that game back. So I guess I have 5 games going, unless I'm mistaken. Let's see. I'm still on this one. Okay, did I offer him a draw? I can't even tell if I offered a draw. I can't see the chat. Okay. Let's get some games over with so that I can... somebody moved. You don't want to draw? Okay, you don't have to take a draw. And I can see this game again. Hey, hooray. Now, okay, this game ended. Interesting, we traded off, went into a 4 minor piece ending, and I went there where he had one weakness, and I tried to create more. I took the A file figuring he'd trade rooks, and he did, and I had to watch out for some tricks on the back rank for both sides. But there I've got one weakness, and then I found a way to create another weakness. He probably should have taken on F4, because that allowed me to get him a second weakness. And now I set up tricks on removing the defender of the pawn on E5, and now I think it's theoretically winning for white. And I decide, naturally you want to put your king on the king side, but I think I did pick the right path to go that way to the queen side. And I just attack the pawn from the rear, and it goes into lost king and pawning, and game over. Okay, that was Canardi, or Canardle, I can't read it, Canardi. Now let's try to get the other games up. Okay, King D7. Okay, so King F2. He played Queen E7 here. What's he trying to do? Always go back to Bishop F5 moves. Yeah, Queen F3. Queen F3 makes sense. Let's just open that file back up. Now there's that other game. Now that you can't see it, and I can't even move it. It's not even letting me move the game. Well, now it is. See, there's the game. How did this thing happen? What's my move? How do I shrink this so that I can see the whole move? I can't even see my back rank. Chess.com, your interface is horrible. This should never happen. You go to close the window and another window and this happens. Let's see, right click, will that do anything? I'm going to losing this game on time because I can't find the board. Let's see, can I stretch it? I'm trying to stretch the board in some way. Let's see. I mean, it was fine when it was a full size, but then it became a small board. I can't, I can't even see the board. I can't see my move. And these other games are still going. How can I get rid of it? Now I don't want it my way. Can I get rid of it and see my other games? Oh my goodness. I'm trying to move it. Now it's covering up this game. Okay. Uh, this is ridiculous. Now I can't get rid of it. Okay. I'm having trouble here, and I'm just going to start offering draws here if I can't solve this real quick. If I can even get to the draw window, this is covering up the draw window. I mean, this is not right. Those are watching the simul. Look, I can't even get to the board. I mean, come on. Okay. I can't even accept the draw if I wanted. Now, why won't this? See, this is my other game with. I can't remember his name now because it's not up here on the thing where it belongs. Okay, come on, let's move. Okay, come on, man. Okay, somehow if you set up if you watch several games on chess.com, up at the top right, you have all the games you have are up there, and you can scroll between them. Now, the way the simuls go is it automatically takes you from one game to another where it's your move. Well, anyway, I'm going back over the games that I played, giving a quick run through because that's one of the things. Give a quick run through for the people that played, and I go to close a game that I had just gone through, and I hit the X, and apparently I hit something else, and it doesn't close the game, and it drags one of the games up there down here and makes an extra board, which you saw earlier. And now I can't get rid of it. Okay. Okay, back. What happens if I press back? I mean, I let's try this. I'm just going to go into live chess again. It'll detect another login and take me out of those other games. It's the only way to go, Worst that's going to happen is it's going to make me lose all my games. Okay, no, it didn't. Now, so let's see. Maybe it brought the other game down here. Yeah, it did. Now I finally got rid of it. Okay, now I can think. Okay, what's he attacking? Anything? No, he's not. Okay, so I put the rook on e3 to overprotect. Let's put the queen on e2 here just to deactivate his rook. Okay. Now, let's see. He's attacking my queen. Of course, I can put my bishop on f5. He moves his king and keeps it pinned. Yeah, just go stick the bishop on f5. I'm trying to get something going here. Okay, bishop c5. Oh, did I drop a pawn? Well, maybe. Here comes a check. Okay. Well, at least I solved the problem of that missing board. Okay, what's happening here? He's guarding his pawn. Now, just get my king out of the way here, gain some time and figure it out. Okay, knight takes. Okay, let's see. When his king there, okay, he's overprotecting that square. I'll put my queen on h2. Okay, now I'm going to take this pawn. Okay, checkmate. Okay. I'm not offering draws yet at this point. Okay, he's down to 22 minutes. Let me kind of check the times here. I have 19 minutes here. That's plenty of time. Uh, let's see what's happening here. Played Queen H2. Yeah, people are some of these people are making comments in the chat window, and I just don't have time to address them. I'm sorry. um, okay, Rook B, 8B6. So what do I do now? I'm in a pin. Do I break the pin? Yeah, I'm just going to take that pawn. It's bothering me. Okay, Rook B7. Okay, so what I've got to do is I've got to break with G4 at some point. And I'm not ready to do it here. But I will be. Rook E1. Okay, FG now. Got to break that pin. Queen G3. Just to have plenty of time in some of these games. Okay, she took. I got to take back. She has a passed pawn. Okay, now you don't get in. I don't know why you're not taking a draw. Okay, well, fine. You want to play out? Okay, you got an outside pass pawn. So do I. I have not an outside pass pawn. Let's just get this bishop activated. Now, is this check and a nuisance? Well, let's just go chase the knight. Okay. Now you're on that. Okay, so G rook here. Okay. Now I'm going to go attack your knight. Hey, your king's getting active. I may have bungled this. I can't. I'm playing blitz chess, but let's see what happens. Let me just move to bishop. Uh-oh, he's threatening a pin. Oh. So he got his bishop active after all. I gotta get my king out of there. Where do I want to put it? King G2 so he can run for the hills. I don't want to get checked on the open file. Okay, so we went back and guarded that. Now can I play G4? Do I want to play G4 yet? Slow play this. No, I can't. The bishop's guarding A4. Let's get the king up to C3. Get him out of the way. I got time here. Bishop F4. Let's see. Well, the white squares are mine. It's not making any progress here. Okay, here comes her rook pawn. E6, A3, rook A1, A2, rook here. Yeah, I gotta go for it here. Here they go. Okay, now what are you threatening I should worry about? I'll just go trade. Let's trade queens here. Okay, clever move. Stopping my rook from getting to B1. Okay, so D7, A3, A7, A2. Let's see, rook B4, A3, rook E4, A2. Rook B4, A3, rook E4, A2. Rook check, king up, rook takes, rook takes. I shove a pawn to the 7th rank. I think that's the way to do this. Okay, you're gonna fix a pawn on a square that I can take it. What if I just take this pawn? Get rid of that one. Okay, now I put the rook here. Now the rook comes back here. Okay, so you're going to get one pawn back, but you can't make any headway. Okay, got the queens off. I just bring my king back and you can't make any progress. Okay. He hasn't moved yet. I have 41 minutes left. Okay, one game ended. Well, your pawn gets up to H2 and I blockade it. And okay, now it comes B3. I was wondering when that was going to happen. I was never worried about that. Okay, let's see. But I got to blockade it at some point. Let's get this rook into play. Okay. And I won this game. And thank you. Let's do a quick run through here. Well, not yet. Okay, so now I'm going to force that pawn to come up to the 7th rank where I'm going to block it. Okay, so now that pawn might become a target. Of course, your king may become a target too, if I can work it right. Very double-edged. Okay, now this is a dead draw. Come on, let's call it a game. Okay, let's see. Is it my move here? What's his move? Okay, so let's see what happened with Carly. Um, she interesting move. She played d4. I think it lost a tempo, and I just kind of changed things up a little bit. Played a like Sicilian reversed or English style. Uh, I went a pawn and just developed my pieces, and I don't think she got much here. She didn't finish her development, and I got the center pawns rolling, and there really wasn't much to this, unfortunately. Then it was going slow at the beginning because I'm playing all the other games, but then she's moved kind of fast. But she's got to take care of her kids, I understand. But this is a very good move here, King C2. It keeps my rook out. But the problem is my pawns there are on the 6th rank, and they're too strong. So now I'm going to force it off. But here you could try King D2 to keep me out of E1, but it really doesn't matter. I can give up my pawn or my rook for your pawn on my rook for your pawn on A2 when it queens, and I win. Okay, my move here. Okay, so now we got to find a winning method. Shouldn't be too hard. But anyway, let's see. I finished this game. Let's close this one out. I'm down to 3 games. And let's see. He moved here, Queen G7. Well, Bishop D7 threatens to block the B file. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, my move here. King G2. You have 39 minutes, I have 17. I already offered you a draw, you didn't accept, but I don't know how you make any progress. And if I'll just stick my bishop on. My bishops could get on the C8 H3 diagonal and blockade things. Okay, let's see. He moved there. It's my move. Okay, to make progress, H4 is weak if I break. So now my king needs to find a new home. H3. Let's start sending him that way. Get some time on the clock. Okay, king there. Now I'll just put the bishop here. And can't take your bishop, obviously. Not planning to take your bishop. I'm just planning to keep you out. This crazy game. Rook B3, you saw my trick. We want. Okay, I need to take a walk. Maybe, let's see, wait, my move somewhere. I'll just check you. I've been wanting to activate this bishop for the longest time and get it to d5, and I can finally get it there if that's worth anything. I'm also, if I check him, I'm threatening to push c5, get my own pawn running. Of course, I could push c5 right away, check. There's someone sending me a Skype tell. Well, sorry I can't talk to you right now. Check. Forces king to f8. or give up the exchange. I don't know. That bishop just looks so strong on d5, but d3's hanging. But then I'm going to get my pawn running, so I'll just give him a check. Okay, rook b8. Now I'm not ready. So let's get the king to h3. Is he going to try to double up? Eh. I mean, I can push that pawn. He takes on d3, c5, rook takes d3. Yeah, his rook's getting dangerous. Oh, wait. I got an idea here. If I lure him away from the back rank, maybe my queen can come down and pester him. Now let's see. Rook takes c5, rook takes d3. Bishop d5 threatens queen c8, and I got all kinds of penetration here. Yeah, it looks kind of natural. Okay, this one's still going. Okay, so he brought the bishop back there, taking the pressure off me. So let's see. Let's get the king to h3. See what happens. Okay, he played g5. That gives up a rook. What am I missing? What's his attack? What am I missing on his attack? Bishop takes b3. I think it just does it. Free rook. Okay, so he's pestering that guy. And now I'm free to start maneuvering of my own. Okay. Rook h6. I don't know what that's threatening. I have queen checks and get everything off the board in a hurry. Yeah, it just seems to simplify. Queen check. Okay. King f5. You're trying to win that pawn. Well, you're not going to. Okay. Now let's see. Queen check. Trade queens, trade rooks. Pick up the pawn on b2 and I'm a pawn up. Right? And what am I missing? I didn't have to take the pawn. I could shove my c pawn. Well, I think like you can stop it. I don't mind doing these simuls, but they take a lot out of you. Now, how does he stop my pawn? Okay, that game's over. Thank you so much. That was hectic. Okay, let's see. He's moved here. Bishop c2 with the idea of rook b8, a rook double a b1. Okay, is he offering me a draw here? I heard a little tickle. Okay, he offered the draw. Accept. Thank you for the game. That was an interesting game. Very interesting game, actually. A lot of maneuvering against that light squared bishop. Okay, bishop h5 just struck me as wrong. Oh, here's his move over here. Okay, he's going to come over and defend that guy. Well, maybe, maybe not. Um, Going to tie you down a little bit here. I'm going to get bishop g. I'm going to get g4 in eventually. Now, if I'm making any progress here, let's get back. Oh, this game ended. I think I'm down to one game. That's it. Okay, let's see. I didn't finish looking at the other game. Uh, let's go over that one. As I was saying, it struck me as not right. Just put the bishop back on e6. I think that's fine. So I get the idea to play for f5. And he stops it. And I take c5 away from his bishop. Now he keeps control of c5. Now, that's a clever resource. If g4, he takes my knight on h4. And I'm just kind of trying to feel my way around here. And he comes up with some clever resources. Now the bishop has an out. I can't take it. Now he gets rid of it there. And now he gets the a file. Couldn't really stop it. But, you know, both of our knights are kind of crummy. My knight goes to e3, it can't get to d5 or f5. His knight goes to e6, it can't go to f4 or d4. So we don't have much with the knights. And here I got this fantasy. I don't know. It just seemed like I thought I was gonna get a pass pawn too. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Just missed something. So anyway, then I was gonna take queen takes f7 check. Ugh. But I think the opposite colored bishops just seems to head it into a draw. And I could take a pass pawn here, but no need to. Just the bishop is strong on d5, and his only hope was the outside pass pawn. He tries to fix a pawn on h4. I could have pushed h5 on my own any time, but I didn't see any need to. Now I get the pawn, and he gets a pawn back, but my king comes back, and now I can't take his bishop because of queens. Game over. And I'm down to one. Whoops, I'm going to close that window. I'm down to one game. And he's offered me several draws I haven't taken. Is it my move or his move? It's his move. Okay, let's get through this game. His end up. Well, he moved. Okay, now. Bishop e1, d1. Okay, so now the system says take on f6, and I did. And I think in this game I almost hung a piece again the same way. I was trying to gambit a pawn here. Oh, he went back there. Now the question is, do I play h4 finally? Or g4. Pawn takes, bishop takes. He can win a pawn back, but then I get activity going against his king. No, he can't. Let's see. There's only a way. g4. Okay. Let's go back and finish. Whoops, wrong one. Let's finish this one. Let's see. Moves. Okay, so he's attacking my knight. And that gives me c4, and I'm happy to go in for the opposite color bishops. I just had an interesting game with opposite color bishops. I just have to get mine activated. And he needs to get his activated. I couldn't find a way. I did my best. And my rook on a1's not helping. I'm not too worried about that pass pawn. But he's defending. And there probably was a defense here. He just lost a rook. But I was starting to get somewhere, I think, in the end. I started seeing some possibilities here. Okay, there goes the pawn. Now I get the idea to shut his rook off. Bishop d7. And when he comes in there, I get the he weakened e6, and I get a chance to check him. And now I'm attacking the rook. And I think it's a bait. I think he needs to come back to b8 but then my pawn's off and running. It's going. It may go to c6 next, and if he takes this pawn, I think I can bring the bishop here, and he has hard time defending things. Okay, so now, how do I want to take, with the king or the bishop? That's a good question. Let me finish off this game here, the discussion I was doing, and I'll come back and think about it. Wait, come on, wrong one. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, so he has to play rook b8. But then this pawn is off and running because the rook takes b3, d3, bishop, maybe even bishop c4 attacks it, and I think this queen check is going to be deadly because then my rook can penetrate, and he got his bishop active finally, but he doesn't have open lines, so he just dropped his rook accidentally, and unfortunately that happens, and I just see a way to trade everything off and reach a winning ending, and game over, and that leaves one game, and then the simul will be over. The video is now 2 hours and 51 minutes, and I think about taking a walk here soon. Gotta get up and stretch. You got all these pawns on white squares. That's not good. Now the question is, which way do I want to take back? That is the proverbial question. And I don't know exactly. I'm figuring that out. If I take with the king, I can at least cover h4, but he checks me. I gotta take with the bishop. I don't know. I gotta figure this one out. I mean, he's been offering me draws for a while. I mean, I'm sure he'll probably be happy with one unless I bungle this and he's able to pull out a win. The only break on the board was what I was doing with g4. It's just a question of which way do I take. And I haven't made up my mind yet because I don't know. Take with the bishop. Now, let him find the defense. Okay, now that's the only game left. Am I a pawn ahead or a pawn down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. Oh, a pawn ahead. No, even pawns. I bungled a pawn earlier and I won it back later. So, two major errors in this thing. One, dropping a piece on f3. My goodness, how that changes the whole game. There's nothing I could have done. And then I dumped a pawn here. I almost did that in some of the other games. It happens when they fianchetto the king bishop against the system and kick h3 or h6 to make the bishop take. And I haven't yet played c3. And I go ahead with knight d2 and b2 falls. And I went ahead and dropped it this way. And I almost dropped it in some of the other games. So, but I had 7 games. I think I lost 1, had 2 draws. Right, 2 draws. Because there's the bishop's a color draw, and then the rook, 2 pawns versus rook and 2 pawns. And I guess I won 3 games. Or did I win 4? How many games did I play? So I think maybe I played 8 games. I think I have 1 loss, 2 draws, and either 3 or 4 wins. Okay, he just moves, so I'll walk by the computer monitor and see what he did. I'll keep stretching. He played bishop h5. Now that forces a bishop trade, I guess. How can I avoid a bishop trade? It also gives me the open G file. So I'll take and pre-move. Swing this rook over to G2 next. And try to penetrate on the G file. I guess you can play rook H8 and I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. Just have to wait and see. So there's only one really gross blunder, and then it's just a transposition moves. And the guy I'm playing right now, he pointed out, yeah, you're supposed to kick C3 first. So, but it makes it interesting too. The objective is give these people a good game. He gets a pawn ahead. What can he do with it? And it puts me a pawn down. What can I do with that? Chess would be awful dull for picking up a small advantage in every game and then just slowly building it up. It'd be great. You'd be winning a lot of games, but you're not being tested. So, here I dropped a piece. I had to try to find something, and I came up with what I could get, and it wasn't good enough. And then this one I dumped upon, and I got something for it. With all the pawns locked up, is it good enough? So it's one of those positions, maybe I haven't even talked about it. Maybe I can push one of those pawns to try to get control of some square to get in. Just don't know. So I think I heard a move. Let me go peek and see if he moved. And he doubled his rooks. So, let's see. Guess I have to guard the pawn and figure out what to do. Put a rook on F1 next, followed by F4, and then try to penetrate. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there's only one pawn break by me, E5. And if he takes with the F pawn, I can push and clear the F5 square, maybe at some point. I've seen stuff like this happen. But my plan now is to get my other rook to F4, and then I can penetrate either on G7 or G6, and maybe I have something here. How do you find out unless you play them out? But like I say, it's interesting how dropping one pawn can change the whole game. And also, although I'm higher rated, I have to play under a time handicap. If I had 8 games going, I'm basically playing close to 12 minutes a move, or 12 minutes a game with approximately a 3-4 second increment. It probably works out a little bit better than that because these people were taking their time, and so I get a chance to think on their time in some cases. I mean, their clocks are running. Maybe I only have 1 or 2 games I have to catch up on. I'm not running behind altogether, but still a little bit annoying that I can't devote the full time. But that's the whole idea too, to give everyone a chance to play a competitive game. And even though I won't play accurately, I'm sure I'm missing great moves all across the board that I would find in a real game under a standard solo standard time control when I'm only playing one players. Why does this thing keep ticking? thought that was a tick uh, for draw offers. He's offered at least one, maybe more. I've been declining. I just want to see what will happen. It may very well be a draw, but I've got a pass pawn, and I can, if I can get a rook off the board, maybe my king can run that pawn up somehow. Uh, again, now the pressure's on him to hold it. Can he hold it? Um, the only way to find out is to keep playing. So, okay, rook h7, rook at gh, or 5 h7. Okay, so now I play rook f1, or yeah, rook f1, because that way I'm planning rook f4, and then my rook on g4 is free to go somewhere. Probably what he should do is send his king over to guard e7. That's his other weakness. But I'm not ready to take a draw yet. There's still some potential play here, and for what it's worth, I do have a pass pawn. Now, question is, can I get away with e5 in a case like this? Let's see, e5. If f takes, I can push f6, and if pawn takes, rook takes, and I'm pressuring d6. If d takes, I can push d6, swing a rook over the d file, but I think he has it covered. So e5 is a possibility, maybe, but not quite seeing it. Here my plan is just put the rook up on f4. That frees the rook on g4, and it can go to g6 or g7, then I double the rooks, and on the g file, then try and double him on the 7th rank. But then he's probably going to take on h4 and get a perpetual check. So probably with correct play, this is a draw. But that's a thing about chess. You can get into a drawn position, but you have to draw it. You have to prove the draw, and that's where chess improvement comes in, when you can actually hold the draw. So this is a good exercise for him. Theoretically, a lot of these games were probably draws, and well, they didn't find the moves. No, I don't want to take a draw yet. I'm going to put my rook on f4 and free my rook on g4. So, not done. Not done yet. He's got plenty of time. He's got 11 and a half minutes plus a 30-second increment every move, so he should be okay. I have 29 minutes and 57 seconds left. I should be okay too. I don't mind if the game ends at a draw. I'm not gonna, if it clarifies if I can't make any progress, then I'll call it that. But I want to see what I can do here. In the meantime, and give him a chance to go wrong. That's all I can do. So he'll shuffle with his king or his rooks. My rook will go to either g6 or g7, and then I can double. Oh, I have to be careful about one thing. If I imagine my rook on f4 being on g7, well, he has a cute move. Rook takes h4. Check. And so I have to get my king off. I can't let him take with check. So we'll just see if that's true or not. I'll put the rook on g6 first, and then consider getting the king over to g3. Well, I'm not being entirely accurate with that. There's certain. Oh my God. Okay, it's not ridiculous. Okay, you'll understand when you see the tape. I've got a pass pawn. Okay, you have uh, to prove you can defend it. Okay, it's that simple. I have a plan here. I'm going to double my rooks and put a rook on the 7th rank, get one rook off the board. Okay? I may put my rook on the 8th rank and try and flank you. Uh, so I have a plan here. If it turns out to be a draw, I won't extend it. Okay? I'm ready to call it a night too, but I have winning chances, and I want to try them out. And you should do the same when you have winning chances. You should be testing them out. So I think it's a position where if I imagine my rook on g8, then he has rook takes h4 check. So I have to be careful where I put the rook next. If I want to put it on g8, I probably have to play king g3. But then he can still play, if the king's on g3 and I play rook g8, he can still take on h4. So I have to put the rook on g7. It's one of those little tricks rooks can do. Um, I don't know. Let's see. Probably if you keep both your rooks on the board, it'll be a draw. If you don't, uh, maybe I can get my h-pawn running. I don't think I can ever get an e5 push in. I don't think he can ever get a b5 push in. So it all takes place on the G file. So we shall see. There isn't much happening here. It's been a fun simul. 7 or 8 games, I don't remember. I think it was 8. There could have been a couple more, but one guy I challenged refused. It said he refused, but he was playing another game, and Ronan returns, never answered. And there might have been another challenge I set out. I don't remember now. I know some of these people I had to send them out twice. Uh, I had to message him and, hey, pay attention. The challenge is here. So trying to give as many of these as I can to bring the list down. Not sure when I'll give the next one yet. Probably either Wednesday or Thursday. I just have to have an open block that I can do them, that's all. So, video is now 3 hours and 11 minutes old. The Simul is about 3.5 hours old. Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, 5 minutes and 23 seconds. Don't lose on time. Okay, so King D7. And probably Rook G7. Because Rook G8's a mistake. Lets him take on H4. And there goes all my winning chances. So Rook G7. And see what he does. I think taking on G7 is a mistake. It lets me advance my pawn a little bit. Okay, he played Rook H5. So King G3, just to take away a Rook takes H4 check at some point. And invite him to put his king on the back rank so I can check on the back rank. And like I say, probably a draw, but I want to play. At least for now. So he's down to under 5 minutes, but that's plenty of time. Okay, Rook H6. Not exactly what I wanted to see here, but now there's no... What about Rook F7? Rook F7, King E8. Rook G7. Rook F7, what does he do? Give him a chance to attack my rook. King E8 allows Rook G7, and I can pick up a pawn with check. So you have a chance to make a mistake here. If you play it right, you'll get your draw soon. If you play it wrong, you'll learn something about the ending. Now, King E8, I'm trying to invite King E8. That's what I'm trying to invite. Maybe I can trade a set of rooks here. Maybe I'll put a rook on H7. Okay, so King D8. Now, what does that make any difference with? Yeah, it seems to be the correct move. Let's see. What happens if I stick my rooks down there on G7? Rook takes H4. Rook takes E7. I think I talked about this earlier. He gets a perpetual check. Well, you want to draw it, you get a perpetual check. Let's make you play one more defensive move. Okay. Here comes your draw. So I'm gonna take the pawn and offer you a draw. Do you want it? There's your draw offer. You've earned it. You don't want it. Okay, fine. Then I'm not going to take it either. Let's see, if I put my king up on F4, that's a horrible move. Can I run my king? No, the king has no safe haven on the king's side. Okay, you didn't want to draw, fine. Then I don't take your draw. Well, I ought to sit here for 30 minutes. You wanted to draw for so long, you wouldn't take it. But I'm not that way. I mean, I was willing to take the draw. I wanted to see what happened, but I guess you want to see what happens too. That's fine. Okay, here I come. Not much going on here. Now you've offered it all. Well, sorry. We're just going back and forth. I guess I could claim it. There, we got it. Okay. Thanks for the game. All right. Let's do a quick run through. Let's see what happened here. I dropped a pawn out of the opening. Oops. See, there it is. Got to play c3 first. Okay. At least I know the normal move order. So I just try to get some space. That's all. You know, it's just a pawn. Pawn's nothing. He's got the e5 square, and I gave me f5. And I did well put that, get rid of my knight. It's very strong. And I got a lot of pawns on white, but I'm not too worried about that. Now try to break them open. Now, this locks everything up a lot, but, you know, his bishop is just bad. If I get mine in the game, it makes a difference. But, you know, I'm playing in other games. I could have maybe given up that pawn on a4, but I just figure, well, why? I don't have to. I'll just figure out my maneuvering later. And I don't know. I never really had much going. I didn't really know where to put the king. I started running him over there. And I figure, well, I'll just trade the queens and go from there. And I was happy to get rid of your bishop because it was pestering my pawns. But, you know, with proper play, the game's a draw. I think if you trade rooks, you probably white might find a way to win if I can trade some rooks, but you know, I can get the pawn up a little ways, but you know, I'm just not getting there. Uh, just not much going on. Anyway, it was a fun simul. I don't mind the draws. I'm having fun. You're having fun. And I thank everyone for watching these and keeping me in practice and look forward to the next one. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.